Number 8. Fulfillment of the promise to Ishmael. Appeal to rabbinic authority. Yahya19 has appealed to rabbinic authority to bolster Ishmael and make him look more important than he actually was. Some rabbi made a comment in the Chumash saying that the advent of Islam was the fulfillment of the promise to Abraham to make him a great nation. But Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo ben Yitzchaki, Judaism's #1 Torah commentator of all times, disagrees that Ishmael has anything to do with the covenant. Furthermore, the Torah itself gives us the fulfillment of the promise God made specifically to Ishmael. The promise we find in Genesis 17 verse 20. And regarding Ishmael, I have heard you, and behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and I will multiply him exceedingly. He will beget 12 princes, and I will make him into a great nation. So Ishmael would be blessed by being made fruitful, and he would be multiplied by God. This is the only specific promise made to Ishmael that anyone will be able to find in the entire Bible. This same Bible records the fulfillment of the promise. Fulfillment we find in Genesis 25 verse 12 through 16.
Matovu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Yisrael, Yisrael.
Argument number 9. Circumcision. Yahya19 has repeatedly made the argument that since Ishmael signed the covenant by being circumcised, he is part of it. However, God merely made circumcision a sign of the covenant, and since circumcision is merely a sign of the covenant, it can be the covenant itself. Genesis 17:11 we read, And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be as a sign of the covenant between me and between you. Also, it should be pointed out that the signing of the covenant didn't only happen to Ishmael, but Abraham's other sons as well. The sons of Keturah in Genesis 25 were also circumcised. Abraham's servant Eliezer was also circumcised. So Ishmael signing the covenant says as much as Eliezer and the sons of Keturah signing it. None of them can lay any claim to the covenant. So this argument of the importance of Ishmael to the covenant with Abraham is proven to have failed. Argument number 10. Verses that exclude Ishmael from the covenant.
There is not a single verse in the Bible which excludes Abraham from the excludes Ishmael from the promise of Abraham. Not one. And the burden is upon him to show us a verse where the promise of Abraham does not continue to Ishmael.
Yahya19 asked for verses that exclude Ishmael from the covenant. Well, all the verses we have covered so far are very unambiguous. The covenant with Abraham will be perpetuated through Isaac and not through Ishmael. God is very specific about his intentions with Abraham's seed.
See him climbing Mount Moriah now. See him binding Isaac there. Hear him cry as he lifts the knife to slay his son. The angel stays his hand and points him to the ram. Abraham, covenant man, trusting in the promises of God. Abraham, covenant man, he taught me how to live, believing in my God.
all the promises were repeated to Isaac and his offspring. None was spoken in reference to Ishmael, because he simply was not part of the covenant. When it comes to the covenant, Isaac is regarded by God to be Abraham's only son, as we see in Genesis 22:2, 12, and 16. And only through Isaac will Abraham's seed be regarded, as we see in Genesis 21, verse 12. Therefore, the exclusion of Ishmael from the covenant is established. It then seems to me that Yahya19 wants to have a verse that says Ishmael will not be included in the covenant. But notice the double standards. When Muslims want to disprove our case from the Bible, they want us to show them a verse that with explicit words like Ishmael is not part of the covenant, or I am God, worship me. But when they want to prove their case from the Bible, they avoid the obvious, cherry-pick their verses, disregard all other verses to the contrary, and can't even live up to their own standards of providing proof from the Bible. Let's play the Muslim game. Since there is no verse in the Bible that says Ishmael is part of the covenant, or Yeshua saying, I am not God, don't worship me, then our point is established, and the Muslims can't prove their point either. Conclusion. The Torah is very unambiguous about who the bearer of the covenant of God with Abraham is. Ishmael is of no significance. The only thing left for Muslims to do is claim corruption of the Bible.